Hey all, I just wanted to create a little video to get you guys more introduced to HackerRank, a tool, a platform that we're going to be using for the remaining assignments and the last two tests. So it's really, really important that we get off on the right foot with this platform and get you guys set up so that you enjoy it. It could be really powerful, really helpful. So let's get started. But before we get started, I just want to wish everybody the best of health in these times of quarantine. And I hope you guys are doing well and are excited for the rest of the semester. So without any more delay, let's get started. So the first thing is I'm going to go over here into my Chrome. You can use Safari, Internet Explorer, whatever you may want to use. But something that has internet access. Your mileage may vary with something like Internet Explorer. I'm not very sure. You just have to work with it. But for this case, we're going to be using Chrome. I'm sure it's going to work in Safari as well. So you'll be provided with this link. And this link is it's kind of like a tiny URL type thing that will guide you to the test in question. So this link will be provided through Professor Mitra's website, so you don't have to worry too much about where you're going to get it. It's going to be the same as the old assignments, and then we'll have the assignment description there as well. So I'm just going to hit enter on this, and let's see what happens. Cool. So you'll be prompted that they're going to be using cookies and things. Just hit OK. It's the same stuff as everything else, and it's going to say welcome to the test, and you'll have a pretty long test duration. And for the sake of this video and this tutorial, I made 2 questions. Most likely, most of your assignments will only have 1. You'll be provided with some instructions. These aren't super important, but just remember, you don't have to read them, but just remember that you don't have to worry about time on this assignment, as in there's not going to be a timer that should be worrying you. And you may close the tab and come back. As long as you have that little link that I had up here, I believe it's in my, yep, there it is. That link, as long as you have that, you can get back to it. And that's what the cookies are for. So enable those to allow you to do that. Please ensure that you submit. So you hit the submit button before the deadline. And we'll talk more about that as we get through this tutorial. And then there's this sample test that you can take just to, I guess, freshen up and see some things, and you can hit that right there. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to continue. And then it's going to give us a list of the questions and what languages, some of the specifications. We are solely going to be using Python 3. So if you've done HackerRank for Java or JavaScript, it's very similar, same platform, but we'll be using Python 3. So that's basically it. You can, again, try the sample test, but we'll continue. This environment setup is just a little thing that will check if you have all of the necessary things to let the environment run. If you're on Chrome, on like Windows 8 and 10 and all that, or Mac OS, like the most recent ones, you should be fine. So no worries on that. If you have an issue, you can definitely reach out to us and we can help you figure that out. So I'm gonna hit continue on that. This is the most important part, the confirmation form. So first thing you have to do is you have to create a HackerRank account. Many people might already have a HackerRank account, so you can just hit login right here. If you don't, feel free to just create it right here and sign up. It's a really great tool to help you study and also take our assignments and our tests. So I definitely recommend that everybody get on that as soon as possible. I have one, so I'm gonna hit login right here, and it's already saved in Chrome, so I'm gonna hit that, and let's see if I am able to log in. There it is. Okay, perfect. And it says hello. So this is my email address. Now, this is the most important. You have to enter your EID. And we want you to enter this rather than your name or anything, because that's how we link all of your grades to Canvas. And that's what we're going to be using to keep track of your grades. So definitely need to enter your EID. For the sake of this, I'm not going to enter my actual EID so that you guys all know what it is. And then I'm just going to enter, oh, it already knows my major. I'm going to enter in my major. And if you want to share your profile with us, feel free. We're not going to be looking at that too much. And then this final thing, this is just another agreement thing that you're not going to copy stuff from the internet, right? But you are more than welcome to reference programming language documentation. So that'll be like the Python documentation, and I can show you that later, or an IDE that has code completion features. So what that means is you can feel free to use idle if you feel more comfortable with that to write code, and then copy paste that into HackerRank and make sure that it works there. Or what I would recommend is try out, oops, where'd it go? VS Code. And VS Code has a really cool feature called live share. So you can work with a partner, because we do still allow partner assignments. You can work with a partner in real time. It'll be like Google Docs, but for coding. It's really cool. And if you have more questions, just ask me about that on Piazza or somewhere else. We can make another video of that sort. Anyways, everything is perfect now. Let's get started. And again, I just want you to I want to attract your attention to this part over here, the test duration. That's a week in minutes, so you have about a week to finish this. One thing I do want to say, that's a week from when you started. Okay, so this test duration is just an arbitrary long amount of time for you guys to take the test without any pressure, right? Without it like saying, oh, we're closing, or oh, it's almost over, right? This is more for you to just have enough time. We are still pretty strict on the deadlines. So for example, if your thing is due Monday or Friday, you do need to definitely turn it in on Monday at 11:59 for you to get credit, okay? If you don't, then you'll lose those 10 points for the next 2 days, right? That means that if you start at Monday night at 11 o'clock, you'll still have 7 days to complete it, but you will start taking penalties after 11:59. Hopefully that is clear. Of course, if you have any questions, definitely ask us on Piazza. We're there to help you guys. So let's get started. So in here, we've got 2 questions. So again, most assignments will just have 1. I just wanted to show, and the test will have 5, and that you only have to answer 4 of those. This is just, again, to show you all sorts of different cases. So I just clicked on one of the questions, and I've run into this little tutorial bot thing that shows the timer. Don't worry too much about the timer. This is going to show you what the question is, and so we'll try to update this as best as we can. In this, the question is sum them all, so it's going to give us a list, and we want to sum the whole list. And I think you guys already kind of know what to code here. Then we're going to go next, and this is a little slider that can make the question bigger or make your code bigger. We go next. Over here, this is your programming language. Again, we are only doing Python 3, so you can't really change that. And then this is the main code editor. Okay, so this is where you're going to be writing your code. Or, I mean, you can write it in an idle type thing and bring it back into here. Autocomplete is just a way of like helping you complete things. I don't think Python is necessarily supported, but we'll see. And then finally, you can do some setting adjustments. Those are for you. They won't affect us, so feel free to do what you got to do on that. And we'll talk about the run and the submit buttons in just a second. And you could get back to the tour if you would like. This will pop up for you guys as well. I kind of clicked through it. If you are confused, definitely go read up more into it. One thing that you guys can do is switch the theme. That's pretty cool. So let's get started. Over here is the question. So in the question, it's going to tell you all the different things. It's going to give you some sample like input and test cases, stuff like that you can work with. Really cool stuff. But right now, I'm going to minimize all of this and just focus on this. This is the problem statement. So this is what we have to solve. And this could be whatever, assignment that we have. And again, this problem statement will be on Professor Mitra's website, just as always. But this is just a convenient way for you to make sure that you hit all the marks with the problem. So it says calculate the sum of an array of integers. So a list of integers. And then it gave a little example, and then it said these are the constraints. So it's not going to be that big. And then then there's some sample stuff. Okay, cool. So we can minimize this a little bit so we have more space to work with our code. Over here, we're just going to start coding. Again, very similar to the same way, very similar to how we've been working with the past assignments, function-based, getting you guys in the habit of writing functions to complete the tasks. And we are just going to return the sum of numbers. All right, cool. So that should get us the right answer. Great. Let's talk about this thing over here, if name equals name. This, we don't want you editing. HackerRank even gives you a little prompt before you start editing. I guess I'll give right here. It says modifying the default header or footer code is not recommended. You can always view the default header and footer code by clicking view code diff option under settings. Anyways, basically this is saying that don't edit this code. This is the thing that allows you to run the HackerRank stuff. So if I delete all this, then I won't be able to run the test cases that HackerRank has provided you with. So do as you please, but this is what allows it to run, and this is what will be graded at the end of the day, right? Right, I'm just going to minimize it so we're not going to be tempted to, work with it. Great, let's hit this run button, and this run button will show if I've actually done it correctly. So this ran a sample test, and I believe it might have been the same one. No, it wasn't the same one. But this ran a sample test with these numbers. So this is my list of integers, and it got my output. This is what I outputted, and this is what was expected. Great, I passed the test. Let's hit run all tests. So now there's 5 tests that have just been run, and you can look through them and you can be like, okay, great, wow, some big numbers. So we'll provide you with some test cases, and if you want to, you can also make your own test case. So if you want to check some of the larger edge cases, things like that, this could be really useful. And you just enter and then hit enter to add elements. So I'll just hit enter, and there it is. So I can test this, and then I can say run. Let's see if that works. Cool, look at that. So that was one, that should be, yeah, there it is. 21, right? And then we're gonna run all of them. It's gonna run all of them again. Great, perfect, looks good. Now I feel like I'm content with my answer. I'm gonna hit submit code. And that's good enough for me. Cool. And then we move on to the second question. So I'm gonna go back to all the questions, and that should be good. And then the second question is another question. That's kind of how the whole thing works. But let's say that I'm sitting later on. So let's say that, okay, I've had enough time. I've spent enough time working with this. Let's say I just close this link, right? Or my computer crashes or something. So something else happens, something maybe bad happens. But let's say that I'm just kind of tired. I just want to not have that open. I do my things, I rest or whatever, and I come back. Same link, if I hit that, should log me back into my same thing. Yeah, using cookies and using your account, it's gonna log you back into where you left off. So now I've had my time to rest, and I thought, okay, there's a better way to do this problem, right? So I can go and modify my submission, right? I can add more comments, I can do stuff like that. I can make this a little bit better, return some numbers. I can be like, okay, maybe some is too slow. I can do something else, whatever it be, right? And then the same process, run and then submit code. So I just want to heavily emphasize that you can modify the submission over and over again until the end of the due date, right? So you can go for the next 6 days and 23 hours. You can keep modifying the submission, okay? Let's keep, then let's move forward. Let's hit solve question for this one. Now this is a little bit more, just adding 2 numbers. Okay, is that it? Oh, and then rounding it. Okay, I'm not gonna write the code for this, but you guys get the idea. You're gonna hit run, submit code, etc. You know how to do all that stuff. All right, and actually, you know what? I'm gonna just do this. Let's do that. So this is a test in, I'm going to be returning the wrong type. So they expect, I believe, they expect an integer right here. So the return is expected to be an integer. But I'm going to return a string. Let's give that a run. And it should definitely not, oh, okay. So your output, I gotta for that. So I guess it works. Cool. Anyways, I'm gonna submit my code. I'm gonna run all the test cases. I'm gonna submit my code. It's not gonna work. I'm gonna fail them. There it is. But it's fine. Let's submit it. Cool. So now I've finished both of these. Again, if I want to modify these submissions, I can go and do that however I please. But now that I'm content, I can hit submit test. Now I want to be very clear about this. If I hit submit test over here, then I can't get back into it. You know, I can't get back into the test. So I have to be 100% sure that I want to submit these two, right? So once again, if I hit the submit test button, I can't access anything in this HackerRank assignment again. Okay, this is really, really important, right? And the only way you could do that is to probably create a new account and stuff like that. And so just don't submit the test until you're 100% certain that you want to not be able to access this thing again. This is just the way that HackerRank works. We don't really have control over exactly how this is. Anyways, so my submission, this one I failed both my tests. I can go and fix it. This submission, I've passed all those tests. I can save it, I can run it. I want to iterate that those tests that run, like all the tests that I run, these are not all the tests. So these are not all the tests that will be run on your code. Once you hit the submit test button, then our hidden test cases will run. So you can't tell what those are. So that's why we're still going to encourage you to test your own custom input, test edge cases, make sure those things work so that when we do test our hidden cases, your program does not fail. Cool, cool, cool. So everything is good. Everything is great. Let's hit submit, okay? And once again, you only submit this if you're 100% certain you don't want to access this again. And you really want to hit the submit test button at the before the deadline, right? Whichever deadline you're aiming for. If you want to be 1 day late, hit it before 11:59, so that we get that notification. Otherwise, it's going to run for 7 days from when you opened it, when you opened the test. Okay, and that could be much later than the deadline. One thing that I also would encourage everyone to do, and I haven't done this, but I would encourage everyone to just take the function that you write and just copy paste it into like a text file or your VS Code or whatever, you know, just text it, just copy that into there, okay? So that you have access to it. If anything does go wrong, then we can look at that code as well, okay? And that will be better for our sake, for your sake, because if this thing closes, then it's a problem, and we can't really control all of that. Anyways, we're all ready to go. We've said, okay, so just to reiterate, we have answered the questions well. We've modified our submissions and everything. We think we've answered them 100%, and we can't get better than this. We're gonna say, okay, we're before the deadline too. Let's hit submit test. I'm gonna hit submit test, and it's gonna say, are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Let's go. And I can give my experience. My experience was a 5-star. Cool. And I'm gonna just submit it. Cool. And then we can go on to solving other HackerRank problems, right? Cool. There's always something up here. But let's just to say we can't go back, right? So if this sample test, right, it's gonna do all this stuff. It's not gonna let me go in. See, it says you cannot take this test. Oh, sorry. See if I can. I don't think. Yep, there it is. You've already taken this, so you can't log in, right? So that means I'd have to log in as a different user. So that's what we're saying. You can't go back and update your test anymore, your assignment anymore. But yeah, that's basically it. If you have any questions, please message us on Piazza or email us. We want to help you. We want to help you transition into this new thing. It is going to be tough at first, but the website is quite powerful and really helpful. So I think a lot of it will be shouldn't be too bad. Okay, so let us know. Thanks for watching. Hopefully it didn't run too long. And I wish you guys the best of health and the best times in quarantine. All right. See you guys.